Hey, what's up? It's me again. It's May, month 3 of my trip here in Sydney, Australia, and I'm here at the Sydney Harbour Bridge. It's a beautiful day outside, and today I wanted to talk to you about the extreme importance of cultivating awareness from within rather than letting your environment kind of dictate it. Basically, what do I mean by self-awareness? Well, what I mean by self-awareness is the fact that a lot of people do things and they are completely unaware of it. So being self-aware implies that you know what you're doing when you're doing it, and you're always aware. It's pretty self-explanatory. But what happens when people aren't self-aware? Well, you get lots of people that are rude. You get people that like push you on the plane. They may not even know they push you on the plane, push you on the train. They do all these sorts of things, and it's really frustrating. Basically, I was getting my RCG, RSA the other day. My 2 qualifications here in Australia. And we went over basically responsible conduct of gambling was essentially just an awareness course about gambling. Basically, it tears your life up and it goes to shit. And apparently, from what I've been told, Australia is one of the biggest gambling things in the world. Now, it's coming from an Australian, so I don't. Of course, they would think that, like I would think that America is the most obese, is the most this and that. But anyway, the point is, basically it was an awareness course telling us about how gambling was absolutely terrible. Essentially what happened in this was this woman was gambling. She lost like hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars just in gambling and stuff. And then her husband finally cut her off. So what she did was stab the guy 75 times. 75 times. Now if that's not an addiction to something, I don't know what is. I mean, if I was going to get really sick, I probably would have stopped at like 5. Like if I was considering doing that, I can't imagine you doing that. That's like minutes of your time that you're standing there doing that. And that's all because she was unaware of the fact that she was addicted to something, and that it was, people like to fall back on the excuse like, it's out of my control. But is it though? Like, because every time that you are going in, like one of the arguments was, but she doesn't know she's doing it. The thing is, by choosing not to do, or by choosing to do something, choosing to engage in an activity, you're inadvertently choosing not to avoid it. So addiction is a huge issue when it comes to self-awareness. People are addicted. They don't understand that like they can get out of it. They're not aware of the fact that they do have the power to break through it. And this woman clearly was not aware of the fact that she needed this gambling thing. Like, there was an experiment done. I don't remember who it is. Don't quote me on the facts here, but there was an experiment that like had rats like in a cage, and they could have gone for like normal water, then they could have gone with like water that was sugary but had this thing that slowly killed them. And they, even though like it was killing them, they would click the sugary water because it was more reward for their brain. They would just keep doing it until they died. So in that same way, that's kind of what humans are doing too. Like, we're no different than animals in that way. We still have that reptilian part of our brain, but it's self-awareness that helps us to realize that we're acting on the reptilian part or that we're not. So all sorts of problems like addiction, you've got needless violence, you've got people that let things like take control, that just completely overwhelm them, like kids with anger problems. Like, they're not entirely self-aware that they have the problem. They're just like, I don't have a problem. Like, you hear addicts, like, what's the number one thing you hear addicts say? It's like, I don't have a problem, I'm fine. But they clearly do, otherwise they wouldn't be addicts, right? Basically what you'll hear a lot of is people that are addicted to something or are extremely, they have anger issues, and they see red and then they go crazy. Those people are people that get stuck in that kind of repetition, that kind of thought process. Basically, when you're dealing with people that are going crazy, you'll hear often like, oh, it just came over me. Like, oh, like women that go crazy in shopping. It's like kind of similar to that. They get that same kind of, they get enough of a rush that they would like to do it again. Women that shop like a lot, or people that gamble, like people that gamble to the point of like they don't have any money left. This other woman like did not even realize, she was completely unaware. She did not even realize until she was in prison. She had lost like a couple $1 million or something. And it wasn't until she was in prison for stealing money from other people, from fellow gamblers, that she and her son came in and visited her, and then she realized she really messed up. It's like, how can you not notice until that point in time? Like, that's like years of which they haven't noticed. But it's cultivating that sense of self-awareness, being willing to ask yourself, like, am I doing that? Like, is this a good idea? Like, the little things like that, that consciousness thing. Now, of course, you let it run your life too much, you'll ruin everything that you're doing. If you have too much of that when you're doing what I do, like parkour and stuff, you're not going to be able to do much because you're thinking about like, oh, I don't know, is this a good jump? But you kind of have to let that go. You have to pick and choose where you want to let that go. But if you leave it unchecked for too long, it can create some serious issues. But anyway, cultivate self-awareness. It's extremely important. If you don't, you might stab somebody 75 times, and you might have a gambling problem. So, or something like that. I don't know. But if you go your whole life unaware, what's the point in my mind? Half of my happiness is like knowing like that I am here, is like being aware and like understanding where I am. And for me, that's right now, that's my purpose, like to understand that I am here, and that is crazy. That might be another video later. But anyway, this is Australia vlog number 11, I'm pretty sure. And with that said, see you guys next time.